Okay, we're going to replace the water pump. 96 Chevy Corvette. First step, take off the air intake ducts. This is a 5/16 nut driver. Undo this right here. And undo the sensor that goes to the mass airflow sensor. So, right down here. Put this aside. Okay, now you can see the water pump. Next step, go in here, take these out. Holds the wiring harness right here. Okay, unplug the coolant temperature sensor right there. And take this wiring harness off. Take that off, and set that aside. Take this wiring harness off. Okay, now we're gonna let the coolant out. Get a little container put under here. This is the passenger side. Here's what it looks like. Might be helpful to get a little screwdriver or a pliers to help turn it. Here's what's gonna go in. Get your Dex Cool GM approved. This is straight antifreeze, so I'm gonna have to mix it 50-50 with distilled water. And a nice new water pump. Look at that. Very nice. Cannot wait to put this in. Now that it's drained, we're gonna have to start taking off hoses. Start off by taking off this radiator hose and this radiator hose, and we'll get this out of the way. This heats up the throttle body for wintertime driving, for when you start it up, so it doesn't get locked up. Then start making sure that the opti does not get wet, because I am not replacing the opti. The car is fine, although it did have a leak in the weep hole. This is a 96, so it's a vented opti. I didn't get it all over the opti, so we'll work from there. Then we'll start taking off this hose down here, get all the hoses off so that we have a clear view of the water pump. Now it's time to take the bolts off. We got 3 on each side. There's 1 here. We got 1 down there. You can see it right there. That's 2. 1 on the other side. Same thing in between the 2 pulleys right here, down there. Got 2 bolts out. Got the top bolt and the bottom bolt that goes right underneath it. Now I'm going to get that side bolt. Then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Top bolt, bottom bolt, and then side bolt. And then I'm going to start pulling this baby out. Here's what the bolts look like. Going to clean these up. So it is 9/16. That's the size that you need, and you're going to need different size, like different length ratchets, because at some points you're going to need the long one, and then when you get close to here you're going to need the short one. You can see that there's these 2, pretty sure they're vacuum lines. They feel pretty hollow. that get in the way of this, you want to push your 9/16" bit in there, get it on the bolt, and push these up. Just be careful not to break these. And that's for the driver's side, the short bolt. So it'll be this bolt right here. I took this off. It holds the vacuum line. It goes on right on here. It's just a little clip. Just because it was cutting me when I was trying to get it in. Okay, to get to the last bolt on the driver's side, all the way at the bottom, you have to release tension on a tensioner pulley. So you take the belt off, use a 5/8, just throw it right on here, pull up, take the belt off, and bring this down, and you can't really see it, but the bolt's right there. Otherwise it's not accessible. Okay, that last bolt at the bottom is draining even more coolant. I guess that's in the block. So let it do its thing. Try not to get the opti wet. I mean, that's my biggest concern right now, because I'm not replacing that. I need this car tomorrow. This is my daily driver, so let that do its thing, drain, and this is almost ready to come off. Like, all the bolts are off. Here are all the bolts. And I'm gonna go clean these up as I let that drain. Time to take the water pump off. Just wiggle it off. I'm gonna have to use 2 hands for this. So the water pump is out. I need to get the temperature sensor on there and put it on the new one, and that's it. I'm gonna clean this up. Oh yeah, and you have to make sure you get the gaskets off, the old gaskets off, and clean the surface and prep it for the new gaskets. Next step is to take a razor and get the edge. Let's see if we can get a good shot here. Don't get all the gasket off. Don't get any grooves in it. So don't use the point of the razor. Just use the edge and make it look like that. Here's a after, before, after. Now once you get the gaskets all off the block, both sides, it's time to put your new gaskets on. Use some gasket sealer, and make sure on all the threads of the bolts you use sealer so that there's no leaks or anything. It's important that you seal everything. Okay, I'm going to take the gasket sealer, I'm going to put it all, first you're going to take the gasket off, you're going to put it on there, put the gasket on, and then put it on top. Don't put too much, but put enough that you cover the whole surface area, but don't make it so it like overflows everywhere. You want to try to get it as neat as possible. You really don't want this stuff with the coolant system. So before everything goes in, you have your temperature, coolant temperature sensor. That goes right in here. I'm going to put a little bit of thread sealant on it. So that'll go in right there. Then you got to get your thermostat. Nice new 180 degree thermostat. And your thermostat housing, which will go on like that. And then start putting everything back together. And you put your gaskets on here, a little bit of gasket seal on there, and match it to the engine. The gasket sealer is on here. Make sure you get a good amount, but not too much. And I'm going to put some on the block too. And then putting everything back together is the same thing as taking it apart, opposite order. And that should really be it. Then make sure you top off your coolant, 50-50 mix, Dex Cool, the orange stuff. Check for leaks. Hopefully all goes well. We'll find out shortly. Okay, so start putting on your hoses, connecting your sensors. Pretty simple. When you screw down the bolts for the water pump, make sure you use a star pattern and slightly tighten each one more and more. I did about 5 rounds until it got fully tightened. And And that's really it. Just start putting stuff back together. Almost done. All the hoses are on. Belt is back on. Just needed to get the intake on and top her off. And ready to try her out. Okay, looking good so far. Stand 193, thermostat opened up. No leaks, no problems. Looking good. Temperatures look good. Okay, and as always, right after you ride, go and check everything. Everything is running beautifully, no leaks, no problems. Everything is awesome. Check the temperature. I've had it running here for about 10 minutes. 219. Excellent. Put on about 50 miles. Everything is running excellent. And water pump change complete. That is it.